I step out of the rideshare, and the tightness in my shoulders finally begins to ease after the long 3-hour flight from Seattle. The afternoon sun settles warmly against my face, and for the first time all day, I allow myself to breathe. In one hand, I hold a small gift bag, gripping the tissue paper carefully so it doesn't crumple. Inside is a silk scarf for Mom, the soft robin's egg blue shade she's loved for as long as I can remember. In my other hand, I carry my laptop bag, heavier than usual because inside are the contracts for the $2.3 million marketing deal I finalized just hours ago. It's the biggest account I've ever closed, the kind of achievement I've spent years working toward. I can already picture the moment at dinner when I tell everyone the news. For once, they'll have to admit I've done something impressive. The smile forming on my lips freezes before it fully appears. 15 black garbage bags stand in a straight row at the front gate of our house. Not the thin kitchen kind that tear if you look at them wrong. These are thick contractor bags, the heavy-duty kind used for demolition projects. Each one is filled to the top, tied tightly, and arranged with unsettling precision, like a line of silent guards standing watch. Behind them, my mother and my 3 siblings form a barrier across the lawn. Mom stands in the center with her arms folded across her chest, chin slightly raised in the familiar posture that used to make my stomach knot when I was a kid. Marcus stands to her right, Elise and Darren to her left, positioned like loyal soldiers waiting for orders. Across the street, Mrs. Peterson has paused in the middle of trimming her rose bushes, her pruning shears hanging loosely in her hand while she watches. The Millers down the block have stopped washing their car, the hose still running across the driveway. My family has always kept our disagreements hidden behind closed doors. The fact that this scene is happening out in the open means something terrible is about to unfold. "What's going on?" I ask, though my voice sounds oddly distant in my own ears. Mom's expression remains calm, almost serene. "Kendra, you're 26 years old. It's time you start living independently." She delivers the sentence with the same casual tone she might use to discuss tomorrow's weather forecast. "The bags contain your belongings." For a moment, my brain refuses to process what she's saying. I blink several times, trying to make sense of the scene in front of me. The contract inside my bag, the one that was supposed to prove my value to them, suddenly feels insignificant compared to the weight pressing down on my chest. After Dad died when I was 8, his will divided ownership of our family home evenly between Mom and the 4 of us kids. Mom kept the deed and handled everything legally, but technically we each owned 1/5. I remember sitting in Mr. Caldwell's office back then, my legs swinging off the edge of a chair that was too tall for me while he patiently explained that I was a partial owner of the house. My siblings never stopped reminding me that they had moved out by the time they were 23, beginning their adult lives while I remained here longer. Never mind the fact that I've been paying more than my share of the utilities and property taxes. Just last week, before my trip to Seattle, Mom had seemed strangely distracted when I mentioned the promotion that might come with landing this new client. Now I understand. This wasn't sudden. This had been planned. "Why now?" I ask carefully. "Couldn't you have given me some notice?" Marcus steps forward with his hands tucked into his pockets, his posture suggesting he's about to explain something perfectly reasonable. "It's about teaching you responsibility, Kendra. You need a push." Mom sighs softly, as if I'm the one making things unnecessarily complicated. "The house has been sold. The new owners want to move in immediately." The world seems to tilt slightly under my feet. "Sold? Without even telling me? I'm a legal co-owner of this property." My voice feels steadier now, anchored by a calm I didn't expect. The contract inside my bag suddenly feels heavier, but in a different way, like armor instead of evidence. "You're overreacting," Mom replies smoothly. "We've been discussing this for months." "Not with me, you haven't." Marcus looks away. Elise studies the hedges. Darren suddenly seems fascinated by the sidewalk. Anywhere but my face. Mom presses her lips together, the faintest crease appearing between her eyebrows. "Your portion of the proceeds will naturally be adjusted," she continues. "You stayed here longer than the others, after all. We calculated what rent you should have been paying all these years." The full impact of her words crashes over me all at once. My home? Gone. My inheritance? Reduced. My family support? Never real to begin with. All while I was working nonstop to close the most important deal of my career. I walk over to the bags and open the closest one. My winter sweaters. The second bag contains books. The third holds shoes. I reach deeper and pull something out. The silk scarf I bought for Mom. It's crumpled between my running shoes and a bottle of bathroom cleaner. She must have gone through my suitcase while I was showering earlier this morning before my flight. I smooth the scarf carefully and slide it into my pocket. Something inside me shifts quietly, like a bone settling into place after being broken. The pain remains, sharp and undeniable, but it brings a strange kind of clarity. I'll need several trips to move everything, I say evenly. I'll have it cleared out by sunset. I'm already loading the third bag into my car when a folded piece of paper flips free from between two photo albums and lands on the sidewalk. The glossy cardstock lies face up. A real estate listing. For my house. Our house. I pick it up slowly, my fingers suddenly numb. The listing date says 2 months ago. 2 months. While I was working 60-hour weeks. While I was flying to Seattle. While I was paying my share of the property taxes like always. They were photographing my bedroom. I lean back against my car, the metal still hot from the afternoon sun. Mom's real and odd behavior suddenly becomes clear. The casual questions about my schedule. The time she insisted on privacy for her book club meetings. The unfamiliar man I once saw in the living room who she claimed was a friend's husband, even though that friend isn't married. My phone buzzes. A text from Elise. Just checking if you need help moving your stuff. Marcus said you're making things difficult. I open our sibling group chat and scroll back through the messages I missed while I was in Seattle. They've been planning this for weeks. Screenshots of the listing, conversations about timing. Marcus suggesting they wait until I was busy with that big meeting so I wouldn't cause a scene. Another notification appears. Harper. Any updates? My spare room is ready whenever you need it. I glance again at the listing photos. There's my bedroom, with the blue comforter I've had since college, my desk with the framed picture of Dad and me fishing at the lake, my closet door slightly open, revealing the dresses I save for big client meetings. All photographed while I was away working. Need help? Mrs. Peterson calls from across the street. I force a polite smile. I'm fine, thank you. But I'm not fine. Not even close. Later that evening, I sit cross-legged on Harper's living room floor with my laptop resting on my knees. On the screen, my family's social media pages show a celebration I was never invited to. You don't have to look at that, Harper says gently, placing a mug of tea beside me. It's only going to upset you more. She's right, but I keep scrolling. Mom, Marcus, Elise, and Darren are sitting at Giovanni's, the fancy Italian restaurant downtown we only visited on rare occasions. They're holding champagne glasses in a toast. Mom's caption reads, "New beginnings for everyone." The timestamp shows they went straight from kicking me out to celebrating with wine and pasta. Look at this, I say quietly, turning the laptop toward Harper. Elise has commented underneath. So glad we finally got full value for the house. The market is perfect right now. Darren replies below. Property values are expected to rise another 15% next quarter, but this was the right moment. Then I see Marcus's post. Photos of potential buyers walking through the house while I was still in Seattle. Fresh start for everyone, his caption says. Everyone except me. They planned all of this, I whisper. They waited until I closed that Seattle deal. They knew I'd be too busy to stop them. Harper's couch feels unfamiliar beneath me, the borrowed blanket rough against my skin. The reality settles over me slowly. I don't have a place to live. Apartment listings on my screen show prices that feel impossible. Average one bedroom, $1,800 a month. My savings account would cover 3 months at most. Tomorrow, I'll have to update my address with HR. My 6-month probation period after my promotion isn't finished yet. What will my boss think if he finds out I suddenly don't have stable housing? The past 3 nights, I've had the same dream. I'm standing at our front door with my key, but when I try to unlock it, the lock has been changed. Each time I wake up disoriented in Harper's spare room before remembering what happened. You should talk to a lawyer, Harper says suddenly. Your name is on the deed. They can't just sell the house without you. I don't know anymore, I admit quietly. Mom always handled the paperwork after Dad died. Harper's boyfriend, who's in law school, recommended an attorney offering free consultations. Later that night, an email arrives. Even through the formal legal language, the meaning is clear. I legally own 20% of the house. My signature should have been required before any sale. The reduced payout they're offering violates my inheritance rights. As I stare at the letter later that evening, a difficult question takes shape in my mind. Should I demand my full share and walk away from my family forever? Or accept the smaller amount to preserve what little relationship we have left? Financial independence would give me freedom, but would completely severing those ties be worth the fight ahead? The next morning, while I'm searching apartment listings at Harper's kitchen table, my phone buzzes again. Mom has sent a message to every relative in our extended family. We've been forced to take drastic measures with Kendra. She refused to grow up despite our patience. Sometimes love requires difficult choices. My stomach tightens. I place the phone on the table and pick up my coffee with shaking fingers. Mom's rewriting the entire story, I say quietly. She's telling everyone I forced them to kick me out. Before I can even process that, more notifications appear. Aunt Carolyn resends her Thanksgiving invitation. Uncle Peter sends a message expressing disappointment. Cousin Rachel suggests I take time to reflect on my life choices. Family of vultures, Harper mutters under her breath. I try to focus on apartment listings again, but tears blur the screen. Another consequence I hadn't expected. Spending Thanksgiving alone. Later that evening, another notification appears. Mom has listed my childhood bedroom furniture in a local buy and sell group. The oak dresser Dad refinished for my 8th birthday, the bookshelf that once held all my Nancy Drew novels, everything priced cheaply for a quick sale, without even offering them back to me. I take screenshots and add them to the folder on my laptop labeled Documentation. The next morning, I sit across from an apartment manager in a small office that smells like stale cigarettes and cheap air freshener. Outside the window, traffic crawls along a street lined with fast food restaurants. The man stares at his computer screen and frowns. There seems to be a problem with your credit report, he says carefully, without looking up. That's not possible. My credit score was 780 last month. He turns the monitor so I can see. 5 unpaid utility bills from 3 years ago, all in my name, all tied to an address I don't recognize. That's not my address, I say, leaning closer. I've never lived there. 2 hours and 3 phone calls later, I discover Mom opened accounts using my social security number when I was in college. The address belongs to my brother Marcus. The unpaid bills total $3,700. That night, I stare at the ceiling above Harper's pull-out couch, my mind racing through calculations. The inheritance money hasn't arrived. My savings won't cover both security deposits and these sudden debts. The marketing deal's commission won't hit my account for 90 days. My phone chimes with an early morning text from the Seattle client. They need revisions on the implementation timeline. I've been awake for 27 hours straight. The next morning, I arrive at the office with concealer caked under my eyes. My presentation lacks the sharp focus that earned me the Seattle account. My boss notices, asks if everything's all right. I force a smile and blame it on a cold. That night, Harper hands me a leather-bound journal. For documenting everything, she says. Legal stuff, conversations, financial records. Organize it now while it's fresh. I stay up until 3, creating timelines and listing financial damages. The journal becomes my anchor in the storm, something solid to grip when my mind spins with exhaustion and betrayal. By the 12th apartment viewing, the units blur together in a depressing parade of water stains and noisy radiators. This latest property manager, James, a man with salt and pepper hair and reading glasses perched on his nose, studies my rental application. Kendra Whitman, he says, looking up suddenly. You created that campaign for River City Bikes, didn't you? I nod, surprised. That's my brother's shop. Sales jumped 40% after your campaign. He removes his glasses, smiling. For the woman who saved my brother's company, I might have something not on the market yet. For the first time in weeks, my shoulders relax a fraction. 2 days later, Mom texts asking to meet at Riverside Coffee to talk things through. I agree, against Harper's advice. Maybe there's still something to salvage, some explanation that will make sense of the garbage bags and the credit fraud and the Thanksgiving disinvitations. The coffee shop hums with quiet conversation and the hiss of espresso machines. Mom sits by the window in a cardigan, the exact shade of blue as the scarf I'd brought her from Seattle. She looks smaller somehow, her hands cupped around her mug. You look tired, she says when I sit down. I am tired. We did this because we love you, she says, reaching for my hand across the table. I move mine to my lap. Sometimes children need a push to reach their potential. The words land like stones dropped into still water. Love doesn't put someone's belongings in garbage bags, I say, my voice low but clear. Love doesn't sell their home without warning, and it certainly doesn't open fraudulent accounts in their name. Her face hardens. You've always been so dramatic. Everything I did was for your own good. Was identity theft for my own good? I needed to help Marcus with his bills. You weren't using your credit for anything important. I stand up, leaving money for my untouched coffee beside the cup. I have to go. Kendra Marie Whitman, don't you walk away from me? Her voice rises, causing heads to turn. After everything I've done for you. I keep walking, past the curious stairs, through the door, into the parking lot. Her voice follows me, calling my name, but for the first time, it doesn't pull me back. In my car, a strange sensation spreads through my chest. Not anger, not hurt, something lighter, almost buoyant. I realize with startling clarity that I no longer crave her approval. The revelation hits me like fresh air after years in a stuffy room. I drive to James's building that evening to sign the lease on a studio apartment. The space is small but clean, with good light and a view of a community garden. Harper and her boyfriend Alex helped me move in the following weekend, assembling secondhand furniture until midnight under the glow of paper lanterns. Perfect spot for your photographs, Harper says, pointing to a wall facing the morning light. I unpack the framed landscapes Mom had criticized as amateur and pointless. Harper and Alex aim them carefully, measuring the spaces between, stepping back to ensure they're level. These are really good, Alex says, admiring a sunset shot I'd taken at Lake Champlain. While my family had tossed my belongings in garbage bags, these friends arranged my remaining possessions with the care of museum curators.
They fold clothes neatly into drawers, alphabetize my books, position my desk to catch the best light for working. 3 weeks after the eviction, I'm preparing for a follow-up meeting with the Seattle client. Their request for me specifically to lead the project expansion positions me perfectly for the promotion I'd been chasing. I polish my implementation strategy until midnight, reviewing metrics and optimization plans. As I finally close my laptop, my phone lights up with a text from Darren. Mom lost everything. She's going to call you. I stare at the screen, the 12 simple words rewriting the power dynamic once again. I stand before the Seattle executive team, my laser pointer circling the final metric slide. My professional smile doesn't waver as 14 missed calls from my mother illuminate my phone on the conference table. The device vibrates again, inching toward my presentation notes like an unwelcome guest. With this implementation strategy, we project an additional 18% market penetration by fourth quarter. I say, clicking to the next slide. Our focus groups show particular resonance with the sustainability messaging among your target demographic. The CEO, Barbara Harmon, leans forward in her chair, her silver bob swinging as she nods. These numbers are impressive, Kendra. What about expanding into the Pacific Northwest educational sector? We've been eyeing that market. My heart beats faster, but my voice remains steady. I pull up supplemental slides I'd prepared after 3 sleepless nights in my new studio apartment. The walls still bare, except for a single framed photo of a sunrise. I anticipated that question, I say, revealing market analysis for university partnerships. We could expand the campaign with minimal additional resource allocation. The ROR objections is hitting an $800,000 revenue opportunity with just a 12% increase in our current marketing spend. My phone buzzes again. Mom's contact photo, her standing proudly in front of our family home. The home she sold without consulting me, flashes mockingly. I slide the phone face down without breaking eye contact with Barbara. The meeting concludes with handshakes and approvals. As others file out, Barbara touches my elbow. That was seamless work, she says, her voice low. Between us, Janet is retiring next quarter.
Digital marketing team lead position will be posted soon. She gives me a meaningful look. You should apply. I'm halfway to the airport when I finally listen to my mother's voicemail, the rental car's unfamiliar dashboard glowing in the gathering dusk. Kendra, it's Mom. There's a family emergency. Call me immediately. Her voice lacks the urgency a true emergency would warrant. I've heard this tone before, the false crisis that demands attention on her schedule. I finish the drive to the airport, check in for my flight, and find a quiet corner in the terminal before returning her call. Finally, she answers on the first ring. I've been trying to reach you all day. I was in meetings, Mom. What's the emergency? A heavy pause follows, then a theatrical sigh. I need to tell you something difficult. The money from the house, it's gone. My fingers tighten around my phone. Gone? All of it? I invested it with Timothy Radcliffe, you remember? Your father's old colleague? He promised 20% returns. Her voice cracks. It was a scam, Kendra. Everyone's money, gone. Marcus and Elise won't even speak to me. The terminal announcements fade to background noise as I process her words. The twisted satisfaction I feel surprises me, not at her loss, but at the universe's swift response to her betrayal. I'm so sorry to hear that, I say, my voice neutral. I've been thinking, she continues, gaining momentum. Family sticks together in crisis. I'll need to stay with you temporarily while I sort things out, just until I get back on my feet. The old Kendra would have immediately rearranged her life to accommodate this request. That Kendra died the day I found my belongings in garbage bags. Kendra, are you there? My silence stretches between us. I watch a young family walk past, the father carrying a sleeping toddler against his shoulder. With such care, it makes my throat tight. With my mother waiting for my response, I weighed my options carefully. Should I offer limited financial help with clear boundaries? Or was this the moment to completely disentangle myself from a lifetime of manipulation disguised as family loyalty? I need to think about this, I finally say. I'll call you tomorrow. I hang up and immediately text Harper. Emergency friend meeting tonight? Her response comes instantly. Wine and pizza at 8. Bring overnight bag if needed. By midnight, Harper and I have researched every affordable senior housing option within 30 miles. Her laptop screen glows as she creates a spreadsheet, organizing communities by amenities, location, and cost. This one's close to that park you mentioned, she likes, Harper says, pointing to a pleasant-looking complex with hanging flower baskets flanking the entrance, walking distance to grocery, and that church she sometimes attends. I nod, throat tight with unexpected emotion. It's nice, really nice. The next morning, I meet with Dr. Reynolds, the therapist I started seeing after the eviction. Her office always smells faintly of chamomile and paper. Your mother's situation is not your emergency, she reminds me, her practical voice grounding. What boundaries feel right to you? We craft a response offering support with clear conditions. No living together, no unlimited financial assistance. Family therapy sessions mandatory for continued help. You're not abandoning her, Dr. Reynolds says as our session ends. You're offering healthy support while protecting yourself.
For lunch, I meet my mother at Riverside Cafe, rather than giving her my new address. The look of confusion on her face when I suggest this speaks volumes. The afternoon sun warms my back as I drive home, preparing to finalize the proposal. My phone rings with Darren's number, the first contact from any sibling since the eviction day. "Kendra," he says, his voice uncharacteristically subdued. "Has Mom called you? About losing the money?" "Yes." A weighted silence follows. "There's something you should know," he says finally. "We knew about her investment plans before the eviction." My knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. "You knew she was about to lose everything, and you still helped me throw me out?" "It's complicated," he murmurs. "Listen, can I stop by sometime to talk more? I've been thinking a lot about what happened." Through the phone, I hear the first notes of remorse in his voice. Whether it's genuine or simply the consequence of losing his share of the house money remains to be seen. "I'll think about it," I say, turning onto the street leading to my small apartment, the home that's mine alone. I arrive at Roberta's Cafe 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table on the patio where the morning sun warms the red brick wall behind me. My fingers tap a steady rhythm on the manila folder before me as I rehearse the words I've practiced with Dr. Reynolds for the past week. The bell above the cafe door chimes. My mother walks in, scanning the patio until she spots me. The small rolling suitcase trailing behind her might as well be a neon sign flashing her intentions. My stomach tightens, but I take a slow breath, remembering Harper's words. "You're not the same person she put out with the garbage." "Kendra, sweetheart," my mother's voice carries across the patio, turning heads. She leans down to kiss my cheek, her perfume the same she's worn since I was a child, momentarily transporting me back to moments when her approval meant everything. "You look wonderful," she says, settling into the chair across me. "That color really brings out your eyes. I always said green was your shade." I've worn this blouse specifically because she once called it unflattering. The compliment confirms what Harper predicted. She's desperate. "How's work going? That big project in Seattle must be keeping you busy." Her eyes dart around the patio before landing back on me. "Your apartment must be close by. Is it a one-bedroom or studio?" "Work is going well," I answer, ignoring her fishing. She takes a sip of water, her lipstick leaving a perfect coral crescent on the glass. "This situation with my investments is just temporary, you understand, once I sort things out with the bank." Her voice trails off as she reaches across the table to pat my hand. "After everything I've done for you, raising you alone after your father died, this is how you repay me?" The words land like a slap, so familiar I almost flinch. Almost. Instead, I slide a printout across the table. "This is Sunnyvale Senior Apartments. It's a studio with a kitchenette, community garden, and weekly social activities. Your Social Security covers most of it. I'll contribute $250 monthly to make up the difference." Her face freezes, lipstick-stained smile suspended in disbelief. I continue, my voice steady. "I've already completed the application and paid the deposit. They have availability beginning next week." She pushes the paper back toward me, her coral nails scraping against the table. "I don't need charity housing. I need my daughter's support. I'll help you, but you won't be living with me, and my support comes with conditions." A couple at the next table glances over as my mother's voice rises. "Conditions? I'm your mother."
Yes, you are. I reach into my purse and place the tattered silk scarf on the table between us, robin's egg blue, now wrinkled from where I found it, stuffed between my running shoes and cleaning supplies in the garbage bag. Her eyes flicker with recognition, then dart away. "My first condition is that you attend family therapy sessions with me," I say, watching her shoulders stiffen. "Dr. Reynolds has openings on Tuesday afternoons." "I don't need therapy." She looks around, voice rising higher. "I need my daughter to show some gratitude." The couple next to us are openly watching now. I feel oddly calm, like I'm watching this scene from somewhere above the patio. I gather my things and stand. "Then I wish you the best of luck," I say, turning to leave. "Wait," her voice cracks. "Fine, I'll try a session or two." I pause, considering the threshold I'm about to cross. This isn't about vengeance or even justice. It's about finally understanding I can choose which relationships to maintain and on what terms. I return to my seat, not from obligation, but choice. I slide the folder with the application toward her, terms outlined in yellow highlighter. There's a pen in the folder. Her hand shakes slightly as she signs where I've marked with small post-it flags. When she finishes, she looks up with narrowed eyes. "Has Darren called you?" The question catches me off guard. He mentioned wanting to talk, but we haven't connected yet. Why? She shakes her head. Nothing, just wondering. She tucks the signed agreement into her purse, her movements brittle. When do I move in? I'll help you this weekend, I say, calculating how much of my Sunday I'll need to sacrifice. The movers I hired will handle your furniture from storage. My phone vibrates in my pocket as I walk away from the cafe, my mother still sitting at the table, staring at the senior living brochure. I pull it out, expecting a text from Harper, who's been waiting to hear how the meeting went. Instead, it's an email from Walter Chen, our CEO. Kendra, based on your exceptional work with the Seattle account, I'm pleased to offer you the position of Digital Marketing Team Lead, effective immediately. I stop mid-stride, pedestrians flowing around me like a river around a stone. For the first time in weeks, my smile feels completely unforced. I stand in the sunlit living room of my new condo, watching dust motes dance in golden beams that spill across hardwood floors. A year can change everything. The windows face east, the realtor explains, jotting notes on her clipboard. Morning person? I am now, I say, running my fingers along the windowsill. In my family home, my photographs were confined to my bedroom walls, hidden like secrets. Here, framed landscapes and portraits will greet the sunrise. The realtor pauses by my largest photograph, a windswept shoreline I captured last fall. Your work? When I nod, she smiles. Stunning composition. The mortgage terms we discussed earlier are competitive for Louisville. With your credit score and down payment, you're in excellent shape. I don't second-guess her assessment or apologize for my questions about property taxes. The woman who once shrank herself to fit into others' expectations has been replaced by someone who knows her worth. The afternoon sun shifts as I enter Dr. Reynolds' office for our family therapy session, 1 year since our first appointment. My mother sits primly on the familiar blue couch, her posture still rigid but lacking its former hostility. Kendra's marketing campaign launched last week, she tells Dr. Reynolds, her voice carrying a respect I never thought I'd hear. The television spot played during the news. Dr. Reynolds smiles. That's wonderful, Kendra. How does it feel having your work recognized nationally? Before I can answer, my mother adds, her team doubled their client list this quarter. A year ago, I would have flinched at her hijacking the conversation. Today, I simply nod and add, the campaign connected with our target audience. We're seeing strong results. Dr. Reynolds notices the shift. In our private sessions, we've mapped my progress from desperate need for maternal approval to measured acceptance of what our relationship can realistically become. Not perfect, but no longer poisonous. Linda, what stands out most about Kendra's growth this year? Dr. Reynolds asks. My mother considers this, fingers smoothing invisible wrinkles from her slacks. She doesn't need me anymore, she says finally, and somehow that's made it easier to be proud of her. That evening, laughter fills my new home. Harper arranges a platter of cheese, while Dr. Reynolds helps Darren hang string lights across the back patio. My brother looks younger somehow, 6 months of his own therapy softening the hard edges our mother cultivated. Harper raises her glass, her eyes bright with genuine joy. From garbage bags at the gate to this beautiful home, all by your own strength. We clink glasses as my phone buzzes with an email notification. The director of marketing position I applied for last week. I'll read it later. Tonight belongs to celebration. After everyone leaves, I unwrap my final housewarming gift to myself. The framed photograph feels heavier than its physical weight deserves. 15 black garbage bags standing like sentinels at my mother's gate, captured on my phone that afternoon before I started loading my car. I hang it in my home office, where I'll see it daily, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as evidence of how far I have come. Below it sits a folder containing application forms for a small grant program I've created, funded from my promotion bonuses. Emergency housing deposits for young adults forced from their homes by family, no strings attached. As I hang that final photograph, I wonder if true healing comes from forgiveness or from building something new from the broken pieces. What matters more? Making peace with the past or creating a future where those wounds no longer define you? The answer, perhaps, is in the question itself. The very fact that I can ask it without pain slicing through me. Sometimes the greatest freedom isn't forgetting the hurt, but transforming it into something that helps others find their way home.